And a very good morning to you, Grenada. It's a Monday, start of a brand new week. I'm George Grant saying hi and welcome to this day's edition of Good Day, Grenada. Folks, just took a look out there on the balcony. Another gorgeous morning. We have so much to be thankful for in this country. We're blessed. We are truly, truly blessed. Beautiful weather. I know the hurricane season is not yet over. We still have a couple of months to go, but yeah, looking good. Took a look out across the Atlantic this morning. There's a whole heap of stuff, a little less than halfway out across the Atlantic. And I'm not even going to bother reading to you the report that was sent to us by the meteorological office, because, I keep wondering, why is it these folks, they put out stuff that the average man on the street just does not understand. They sent a report this morning with the latitudes and longitudes, no comment about how many miles to the east or west or north or south or wherever this system is from us. This degrees north, those degrees east, so many degrees west, and poo. Anyhow, there are a couple of systems out there, nothing really serious. We're not talking storms or hurricanes here, but I think they are saying that tomorrow and the following day, Wednesday, we may have some showers. Please, guys, please. I remember a few years ago being told by the Met Office that the reason why it sometimes takes them so long to get the information out to us is because they're getting this from the National Hurricane Center in Miami. And they want to, when they receive it, they want to read it and analyze it and put it into words that we can identify with, in a way that we can actually comprehend what's going on. Valiant idea as far as I'm concerned. But I took a look at this thing this morning and I said to myself, why bother? I'm just confusing the people out there. So let's say tomorrow and Wednesday, make sure you take along an umbrella. That's as far as I'll go. Okay. This morning, story here about a new strain of marijuana, which seems to have shown up on the streets of Grenada. It says here that the police have now confirmed that CRIPA, C-R-I-P-A, or creepy, C-R-W-P-Y, that's a powerful strain of marijuana grown from plants native to Europe and the United States, was recently discovered right here in Grenada, and apparently 2 persons have been held in connection with the find, according to police reports. And got that from a Jamaican newspaper this morning, actually. Ken Stanislaus, who's a 39-year-old Mason, and Angela Peer, a 32-year-old cook, have been jointly charged with possession of cocaine, possession of cannabis, trafficking in a controlled drug, illegal possession of a firearm, and illegal possession of ammunition. Okay? Now, it's reported that they were held on Wednesday of this past week, following the search of a house which they occupied. During the operation, the police found the cocaine and the creepy marijuana, along with a gun and ammunition. It goes on to say here that when compared to other marijuana plants, this particular strain has up to 20% higher levels of THC, which, as many of you may know, is the active, psychoactive ingredient in the plant. Just thought we would throw that out at at you this morning. Now, scouting through the internet this morning, I also came across some really interesting news. This is just a little aside, if you will. Interesting news coming out of the United States this morning. There is a story on the CNN website, international site, which says that Americans are becoming more likely to think that President Donald Trump will win a second term in office. Okay. While Mr. Joe Biden stands atop a crowded field of Democrats, perhaps looking to replace him. Now, that's according to a CNN poll. Americans happen to be split right now on whether Trump will win re-election in 2020. The figures show that 46% of them say yes, Mr. Trump will be re-elected, and 47% say no. Amazing. Amazing, amazing, amazing. After all that we've been hearing about this man's presidency, after all the fake news talk, after all the things they've said about his relationships with other nations and the world, I'm kind of surprised to hear this. People have also gone as far as to call for his impeachment. What a wonderful world we live in. Always, always full of surprises. Okay, pilgrims, it's Monday morning, and you know what happens on a Monday morning, okay? We bring you the Caribbean literature quote of the week. And this week, the lady taking center stage is a young lady who is a volunteer. No, actually, I think she's one of the paid staff down at the Grenada Public Library. And her name is Tamika Binda.
Brought to you by the Grenada Community Library in collaboration with our partner for literacy, Grenadian General Insurance. Welcome to the Caribbean Literature Quote of the Week. Break a vase, and the love that reassembles the fragments is stronger than that love which took its symmetry for granted when it was whole. From the poetry book Dream on Monkey Mountain and Other Plays, What the Twilight Says by Dirk Walcott includes Walcott's moving and insightful examinations of the paradoxes of Caribbean culture, his Nobel lecture, and his reckoning of the work and significance of such poets as Robert Lowell, Joseph Brodsky, Robert Frost, and others. It is available in the George Parfitt's Caribbean Collection at the Grenada Community Library, number 7 Lucas Street, St. George. Derek Alton Walcott was born and raised in Castries, St. Lucia. He was a Caribbean poet, playwright, writer, and visual artist who was noted for works which explore the Caribbean cultural experience. At age 14, Walcott had published his first poem, a Miltonic, and by age 19, he had self-published his two first collections, 25 Poems in 1948 and Epitaph for the Young, 12 Cantos in 1949. He later studied at the University of the West Indies in Kingston, Jamaica, and then moved to Trinidad in 1953, where he became a
Oh my goodness. For some reason, the young lady has disappeared. Tamika, thank you very much anyway. We'll try to find out what happened there, and we'll probably run that again for you tomorrow morning. Jerry Hopkin out there on Facebook in the Big Apple. Let's see what Jerry has to say here this morning. He's saying, good day to you, George, and all of your listeners. As always, you cover the whole gamut. Keep it up. Good to hear from you, Jerry. Thank you so much for checking in. I certainly hope that things are going well with your social gatherings. You've become quite the guy up there in the Big Apple, haven't you? Huh? Well, I certainly hope that on your next visit down to the Spice Isle, you'll find some time to drop by and say hello. Or, airfares apparently aren't too expensive nowadays, so perhaps you can send me a ticket. I'll come visit you. Thanks a lot, Jerry, for checking in, and I do appreciate your encouragement. Just want to remind you two folks that the program that you're watching now on Facebook can also be seen on the GRENADABROADCAST.com website. We had some issues over the weekend, but those appear to have been resolved now. And so take a look. There we are, up on GRENADABROADCAST.com. And once the program is over, it will also be published on Facebook, and a little later on today, it will also be on YouTube. Okay? So you got no excuses for missing it. Let's take a little break here, and then we'll come on back with the National Report.
So babe, Alberto and Beryl come and gone, right? So that means we still have Chris, Debbie, Florence, Michael, Patty, Sarah.
From the looks of it, Tony and Valerie might be coming as well. So we need to pick up some extra hurricane supplies.
You don't know how many hurricanes will be coming this season, so you need to be prepared. At Hubbard's Hardware and Building Supply Departments and the Food Fair supermarkets, everything from canned foods, flashlights and batteries, to plywood, tarpaulin, lanterns, roof repair kits, water tanks, etc. are available. For over 90 years, we've helped you prepare for and recover from storms. Hubbard's is an integral part of your hurricane preparedness plan. Get discounts when using credit and debit cards.
Grenada Market has now introduced the Prime products to online shoppers in the UK via amazon.co.uk. Zebrapick, Nutmed, Wabande and Mobiback are now available, with more products being added gradually. These products are shipped across the UK and Europe free of charge for Amazon Prime members and backed by Amazon's reputable customer service. Avoid international shipping. Buy in your local area. Amazon.com in the USA, Amazon.ca in Canada, and Amazon.co.uk in UK and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
GRENADA Community Partnership Initiative.
What we have seen with the quality of the debate, the intellect, the effort that has gone into this is a credit, first of all, to the debaters themselves. But it's also a credit to the teachers, to our schools, to our parents who would have worked with those students to get them to where they are today. Us who sit in Parliament should be inspired by what we have seen today, and I think we can learn something from what has been presented here today.
GRENADA, energizing our community.
Alrighty, folks, it's now, let's see here, 15 minutes after 9 o'clock, Monday morning. And after the national report, which by the way comes up next, Beverley Sinclair is going to be making a little visit to us. I expect that any minute now she's going to be stepping through that door, and we look forward to hearing from Bev. Always so stimulating and invigorating. She keeps an eye on things going on around this place, and sometimes, as in my case, people don't like the things we have to say, but we have to call the shots the way we do see them. We know that the Grenadian people are counting on us, and it's only fair that we bring that information to you. So, here goes the Monday edition, actually the Friday edition on a Monday morning from the GIS.
Ministry of Foreign Affairs announces diplomatic representations for the upcoming cycle. Details to this story and more in the National Report. With the details to the news for Friday, October 12th, 2018, I am Rakisha St. Louis. The Minister for Foreign Affairs says after considering the recommendations of the ministry, the Cabinet of Grenada has approved the composition of Grenada's diplomatic representation for the upcoming cycle. Ms. Yolande Smith, currently the Deputy Consul General in Miami, is now appointed as Ambassador to the United States of America and Permanent Representative to the Organization of American States. Ms. Deanne Perrott, currently the attaché at the mission in Washington, D.C., is now appointed as Deputy Consul General in Miami. Ms. Keisha Grant, former Press Secretary to the Prime Minister and currently an officer in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, has been assigned as the non-resident High Commissioner to the United Kingdom. Ms. Abby David, who holds a PhD in International Relations from the China Foreign Affairs University, has been appointed as Ambassador to the People's Republic of China. From August to November 2018, she is assigned to the Grenada's mission to the United Nations in New York. She will assume office in Beijing in December. Mr. Michael Mitchell, Technical Advisor at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, has been appointed as Chargé d'Affaires at the Grenada mission in Beijing, China, from August to December 2018. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs says diplomatic representations in Cuba, Venezuela, Belgium and Canada remain the same. The government of Grenada says it is compelled to respond to recent statements made by the President of the Public Workers Union, Ms. Rachel Roberts, aired on local media, in which she inferred that she has been informed that Nawasa has been sold to a Chinese entity. Government says it has not in any way sold, divested or transferred Nawasa or any part thereof to any entity, Chinese or otherwise. It adds that Nawasa remains a statutory body owned by the government and people of Grenada. In a statement, government said it is unfortunate that such a reckless statement would be made by someone who could easily verify its accuracy, and is calling on Ms. Roberts to retract that statement, which only serves to mislead and unsettle the nation. Government continues to invest heavily in the human resource of the country, and the newly launched Empower program is tailored to bring about attitudinal changes and sustainable employment for young men. The Ministry of Youth, Sports, Culture and the Arts officially launched the program on Friday at the Grenada Youth Center. The $6.2 million program targets 500 at-risk young men throughout the 15 constituencies.
This Empower program that we are undertaking through the Ministry of Youth is in response to what we have seen in recent years. By and large, our young men are being left behind in academics and in the professional world. Our young ladies continue to blaze the trail. And while we applaud this, and we continue to encourage the initiative and drive of our young women, we understand that we have to move swiftly to guarantee our young men at least have a chance for a better life, and also to be good partners for our young women. Through this program, young men will gain specialized skills that are in line with their goals and passions. They will be able to start their own businesses in their own areas of interest. The choice is theirs. We simply are happy that we are able to assist them on this journey.
Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Youth, Sports, Culture and the Arts, Kevin Andel, says the program is geared towards improving the marketability and employability of the participants.
The objectives of the program: to provide quality training for approximately, as I said before, 500 young males, ages between 18 and 30 years. To provide a source of financial assistance for training, and I want to say that again, to provide a source of financial assistance for the training and the costs associated with the training through a provision of a stipend for the 12-month period. Also, to facilitate an apprenticeship training program for at least 2 days per week for the duration of the 12 months. To create a small business fund which participants can access for the creation of small businesses after 12 months of training. To create an education fund which participants can use to further develop themselves academically during that 1 year. And to improve the marketability and employability of you young men through capacity building.
Expectations are high for the newly launched program. Project Officer Royden Bihari pointed out that the ministry and the participants must all play their role in ensuring the success of the program.
As a ministry, we expect participation in the program, and we expect our participants of this program to break the barriers and aim high. Take the opportunities and take the program seriously and use it as a stepping stone to enhance your career. Display a high level of respect for each other and the work environment. Participate meaningfully in contributions. Display a high level of attitude towards authority, to teamwork and leadership while in the program. Set realistic and achievable goals while in the program, and be open to learning new things, confronting new challenges, and exploring new and innovative solutions. But finally, be professionals.
This is the National Report. We'll have more news after the break.
The house was shaking. Then started so we hear bang, crack, and the roof had gone.
Man, I was so scared, I nearly wet myself.
Only those who have lived it can truly understand the devastating fury of a hurricane's wind.
The house across the road just get up and roll over.
Hurricane force wind. It's a hazard. Hazards. Take control. Reduce your loss. You can hurricane-proof your home. For example, make your roof more wind-resistant by using screws instead of nails in its construction. Find out more about hurricane force winds and other hazards at your local disaster office.
A message from the National Disaster Management Agency and SEDERA.
Welcome back. The Special Victims Unit says reports of sex crimes have increased. Woman Detective Constable Samaika Fari says since the establishment of the Special Victims Unit, more persons are coming forward to make reports. The unit and hotline were launched in September to address domestic violence, sexual offences and child abuse cases. The ministry, the RGPF and other stakeholders have joined forces to stage educational seminars and marches geared towards stamping out the social ills. Woman Detective Constable Fari says the most prevalent report to the unit now is sexual intercourse with a person under 13. She attributes this increase in reports to the enabling environment that was established.
Like persons are coming forward, they're reporting it. And I believe right now, since we would have launched that Special Victims Unit, like persons have more, they're comfortable. They feel comfortable coming forward and reporting it, because when they came, I remember 2 persons came to the office like the first day and they were like, wow, that's a comfortable place. We have
the environment is conducive.
Friendly. Yes, it's friendly, and when they come in, it's like they feel relaxed. And what I'm saying is that yes, the reports are coming forward, but that doesn't mean that the issues were not there before. But they feel, okay, well, the police were here for you now, so we're going to come forward because we feel more comfortable. And we have that place to accommodate these individuals. Yes, the most rapid or the increase, yes, we have an increase in reports. But what I'm saying is that we have, like, the report that we get most is sexual intercourse with a person between the age range of 13 and under 16.
Detective Constable Farry shared the unit's strategic action plan to get some more cases solved and more reports made.
We started doing outreach programs not only in the school but on a PTA level, because we realized the parents, we needed to educate them as to the signs, the effects, what they need to look for. So the child start having temper tantrums, and they never used to have that before. Emotional trauma, breaking down, silent, bedwetting. These are some of the effects and so forth. So as a result, our low self-esteem from a very intelligent, brisk, outgoing child, outspoken child, to a child that's very, you know, introverted. And you understand, the parent would come with, oh no, she's very rude. And I'm like, okay, so from that person to this person, what do you think, what would have changed? What would have caused that cycle? What did you observe in the home that's different? You understand? So, or she complained about stepdaddy would have touched her. What did you do about it?
And finally, the Ministry of Education, Human Resource Development and Religious Affairs has embarked on a process to revamp student councils in Grenada's secondary schools. This was marked by an initial student council meeting on October 2nd at the Grenville Secondary School for District 3, attended by Education Minister Honorable Emmeline Pear. We'll have more details in this and more report.
Grenada has a rich history of student councils and student council advocacy. The Ministry of Education, Human Resource Development and Religious Affairs Student Support Services Department is leading the task to fulfill the requirements of the Education Act of 2002, Section 71, which stipulates that each secondary school must have a student council elected by the student body.
Many people complain that students who leave the school system don't have as much initiative as we want them to have. And one of the ways to address this is through the formation of students' councils. We want students to become very much involved in the decisions at school that affect you. We want you to have a voice.
In the Students' Council, it helped me to be a better leader and to be a better prefect. And, well, to me, I find like students really like me, and I didn't even know that, because I got the most votes in the Students' Council, so it helped me to be a better leader.
Let me share with you some of the advantages of having a Students' Council. 1, to have a beneficial impact on issues such as discipline, bullying, and staff-student relations. 2, to develop communication and leadership skills, responsibility, and accountability. And finally, to be a valued resource to management, teachers, and other students.
Some people told me that they find that I have a good self-esteem, I can speak to public, and you know, I could just be a good president. It was very frightening, but then I could manage, and I'll make my school a better place for my students.
I think it is useful because students should have a voice, and not everything the upper head say we agree with it. So I think we should have a voice so everybody could feel comfortable, and maybe we'll see a production within the students.
I was thinking that the student council could work along with the prefect system in terms of establishing order, in terms of being respectful to teachers, wearing the right uniform.
Student council meetings continue each Tuesday until the end of October 2018. The meetings are expected to increase awareness among students about student councils and to assist the ministry in achieving its goal of having a national student council by the end of the current academic school year. For the National Report, I'm Annette Moore.
That story just brought the curtains down on the National Report for today, Friday, October 12th. Let's recap the top story. Ministry of Foreign Affairs announces diplomatic representation for the upcoming cycle. On behalf of the entire news team, I am Rakisha St. Louis saying thank you for viewing.
Take a look. Take a look. You know, when I told you that Bev was going to be here this morning, you didn't believe me? Take a look. Look at that smile. She is saddled up and all ready to go. Good morning, Beverley. We are going to get to you right after this.
I'm always on the move. Training, traveling, competing. So it's good to know I have Co-op Bank in the palm of my hand.
Introducing e-banking, one of many customer convenience services from Grenada Cooperative Bank. And there's more to come.
It's swift, simple, and secure.
Welcome home.
Can I have a chicken lunch, please? Large.
Real nice today.
I don't want that.
But you just asked for a chicken lunch.
I don't have problem with the lunch. Afraid the container.
What is the problem with it?
These styrofoam containers, they don't good for the environment. They shorten with life.
What foolishness you telling me?
Grenada Market has now introduced prime products to online shoppers in the UK via amazon.co.uk. Zebrapick, Nutmeg, Bourbon-Day and Mobiback are now available, with more products being added gradually. These products are shipped across the UK and Europe free of charge for Amazon Prime members and backed by Amazon's reputable customer service. Avoid international shipping. Buy in your local area. Amazon.com in the USA, Amazon.ca in Canada, and Amazon.co.uk in UK and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
After a hurricane, exercise caution as you may still be in danger. Be alert and keep listening to the media for official instructions. Assume all wires are energized and stay away from them. Avoid water that is in contact with poles and lines. Report all emergencies and outages by calling GRENADA at 237. If your home or business sustains damage, and you are safely able to get to the main switch, turn off the power immediately. Get a licensed electrician to check your home for damage before restoring the power. GRENADA will ensure that island-wide power is safely restored within the shortest possible time, with essential services restored first. For more information, please visit us at www.grenlec.com.
GRENADA, energizing our Grenada.
Alrighty, folks, it's now, let's see here, 26 minutes away from the hour. And before I say good morning to Bev, hi again to the folks out there in Switzerland, Nesta and Chester, and again, Jerry out there in the Big Apple, all on Facebook. And then those of you on the other platforms who may not be on Facebook this morning, I see they're out there in Brooklyn, they're out there in Concord in Canada, Kingstown, St. Vincent. I wonder if that's our colleague Jerry George in St. Vincent. We'll find out in a wee bit. Mississauga, Ontario, Munich, and Germany. Hey, folks, thank you so much for joining us. Let's say good morning now to the lady herself, Ms. Beverley Sinclair. How are you doing, girl?
I am very well this morning, George, and good morning to all your wonderful listeners and viewers.
How come you always so well on a Monday morning? Huh?
I am well every day, George. I wake up, I'm alive. It's beautiful.
Life is beautiful, yeah.
Bubbling on the inside.
Yeah.
Nothing shakes me.
Well, I know this morning that you're rushing off to a meeting, but I'm really glad that you're able to spend a few minutes with us. And knowing you as I do, Bev, I'm sure you didn't spend your weekend sleeping, but you know that little brain of yours is working overtime, and I'm sure you've been monitoring things in the country. Let me hear you this morning.
Nothing going on in the country but the CCJ. But before I touch on the CCJ, George, you know that laws are made for the lawless, right? You put laws in place for people who are lawless and disobedient, not for people who are obedient and who behave in socially acceptable ways.
Okay.
You have your station on a street that's a two-way street. It's very narrow. And of course, there are other people who live and have businesses on the street.
Yeah.
And some of these people choose to use the very narrow two-way street for their own parking purposes.
And boy, Woolwich Road is narrow.
Yes. And especially coming into your gate,
yeah,
it's like, oh, this is the most convenient place to park, so I just park.
Yeah.
It's lawlessness.
Yeah.
You know, it's a microcosm of the lawlessness in the society.
But people get away with it because the laws are not being enforced.
And that is why I started out by saying laws are made for the lawless. So you cannot make a law and expect that lawless people are going to obey it. You have to enforce it.
Yeah.
If there were no lawless people, we would have no laws. We would have no prison. We would have no police officers, because everyone would behave in the way they should. No one would infringe on anyone else's rights, and we would have a very peaceful and orderly society. But because we don't, we have laws. But if the laws are not being enforced, it makes no sense having these laws.
Absolutely.
The traffic police need to be a lot more aggressive in St. George's. I remember one day they came out on a clamping spree and must have clamped about 20 cars in the town in a short space of time. And everybody got excited, and it was a social media furore. And that was that.
People were excited to see them working.
Yes, and people passed their remarks, who said what they had to say and whatever. Yeah. But that's the kind of aggressiveness you need to see every day. It would be nice to see some of that aggressiveness on Woolwich Road.
Yeah, yeah.
Because people just use the street however it suits them, totally disregarding the fact that it's a public thoroughfare. And it's a two-way street. It's not for parking.
Well, Bev, like I've mentioned to you before, you know, that this hassle happens every morning between, say, 7 o'clock and 8:30 or 9 o'clock. And it's not a pleasure, but sometimes it's just amazing to stand there on the balcony or even in my bedroom and listen to the obscenities, because people get so angry, man. They shout, and some of them get out of their cars and put their arms up and everything. It's a spectacle, let me tell you, every morning. So
yes, and the police will put a no entry sign on the Lucas Street end of the road, and there's nobody there to monitor it.
Yeah.
So the lawless drivers just drive around the sign and go wherever they're going. Police officers, laws are made for the lawless, so you have to enforce it. You do not put up a sign and expect a lawless person to obey it. They're not going to, because they are lawless. So you have to get out of your stations. You have to be out there on the streets.
Yeah.
You have to be at strategic points enforcing the law, or else we become a lawless state.
Yeah.
And sometimes it doesn't have to be so difficult getting from point A to point B. It's the lawlessness on the street which contributes to the chaos and the difficulty, and the Road Traffic Act, it needs to be enforced. I don't know why we expect lawless people to obey the law.
Yeah.
So police officers, please, go out there and do some enforcing. Write some tickets. You know, I am sure the Treasury could use the money. So go out there and write some tickets, collect some money, and let some good come out of all of this lawlessness on the road.
Yeah, yeah. You know, on the weekend, I was downtown near to the bus terminal, and you know, there are police officers on the street. There are, and I couldn't help but notice, you know, some of these officers nicely dressed. Have you noticed how trim these guys are? Very flat tummies, not pot-bellied like me, eh? And there were two of them standing around, talking and talking and talking and. Meanwhile, right around these people, laws are being violated, and these guys are totally oblivious to what's going on. And I wonder, you know, you're hiring these young kids. I remember a few years ago, there was a police commissioner by the name of Gudday. Do you remember that guy?
Yes, I remember him.
One day, Gudday gave me a ride from the botanical gardens to the GRENADA, and we were having a little chat. And he said to me, you know something, Mr. Grant? He said, my men don't even know the laws that they're being paid to enforce. I said, you're a commissioner. You're telling me that, Commissioner? Yeah. But it's obvious. I mean, this was not just in his day. I mean, it's happening right now. Just take a look. These guys are wandering around town, and they don't have a clue what's going on.
Yeah, so
it's that.
That need to be part of the training. You know, when they're recruited, they do go through some form of training. They have graduation. They are put to work. They have to be taught what laws they are to enforce.
Yeah.
And the hierarchy of the force need to ensure that the laws are enforced all across the country. It's pointless having laws if they're not going to be enforced. Pointless.
And we go to Parliament the first opportunity we get and write more laws.
Exactly. And they sit on the shelf.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that is why people are concerned about the CCJ, because how is that going to help us in any way with what is happening in the country today as far as lawlessness and justice is concerned? My take on it is that it won't. It's not going to make a difference. It's an appeal court that you have to get through the system to access. So all this talk about access to justice, it's not going to make access to justice any easier, because you still have to manipulate and maneuver and get through a very convoluted justice system before you get there.
Did you by any chance hear the program yesterday, Sundays with George Grant, with Claudia Joseph?
No.
Well, let me tell you, she dropped a bomb on me, because, you know, we've been hearing a lot of talk about how much more accessible the CCJ is going to be to the Grenadian public. Well, she pointed out that it would probably cost about $120,000 to get to the CCJ. And I freaked out, because I've heard a lot from proponents of the CCJ, but I never heard anything about that mentioned. It's up on the website. You can go on back and look at it or listen to it. And she actually quoted legislation, which, when she did the mathematics, showed up to $120,000, Bev.
I'm not surprised, because we have been asking for these figures. And the proponents of the CCJ, they stand up and they bandy about some figures which are not qualified. You know, even Prime Minister Skerritt, when he was here, just stand up in the podium and just shout out some figures. And you're like, how do you arrive at these figures? What quantifies these figures? And that is a kind of explanation that we need to give to the people that, look, it's not going to be any cheaper. And if you cannot afford a lawyer at the level of the magistrate, how are you going to afford a lawyer to get you through the system and get to the CCJ?
Yeah. You know, it's true that there are opponents, people who oppose the CCJ, bringing forth what they consider to be issues that really aren't. You know, they're making a brouhaha out of nothing. But by the same token, Bev, proponents of the CCJ are not being totally honest with the people either.
Yep.
And that concerns me.
And that is where I have a problem. Except there is some ulterior objective or some ulterior motive that the people are not made aware of. There is no big problem in saying, okay, let's scrap this date, let's take this bill, let's fix it, let's look at some of the issues that are being raised and see how we can address these issues. What is the point in adopting a flawed process or a flawed institution or whatever you're going to put behind flawed? There are flaws. So why are you trying to force people to accept something by, in many cases, outright lying to people about it just because you want them to accept it? Why are you forcing the people to accept something which it's not going to make a difference in their lives, in their day-to-day lives? So if you really want for people to be accepting and comfortable with the CCJ, then these are some of the concerns that have been raised. Deal with them. Instead of telling people, dismissing everything that's raised and trying to tell people they're crazy and trying to tell people they're being political and making every kind of remark against every issue that has been raised, doing everything but dealing with the issue.
Yeah.
The issue is raised about the bill where CARICOM heads can make a change and suddenly our constitution is changed and the people have no input in it. That hasn't been addressed. The issue has been raised where we have a bill which says you can take a case for $1,500 to the CCJ, but the CCJ say you can't come there if your case is less than $25,000. That has not been addressed. And there are issues like those. You know, the issue of taking political cases to the CCJ, where there are restrictions on election petitions not being able to go to the CCJ. Those concerns have been raised. Right now,
scary, eh? That's scary.
Right now in St. Vincent George, there are elections petitions before the courts since 2015. They have not been dealt with. St. Vincent and the Grenadines has an unsettled election, but they have a government in place. And if the people are going to be denied taking elections petitions through the system and to the CCJ, what's the point?
Well, perhaps, you know, this is what they were talking about when they talked about what the one party state where you just accept it. You just accept it.
No. I am from the tribe of slaves who did not accept things just so. No, I was one of the fighters, so I can't accept it. You have to put things in place that make sense for the people. George, we have come from slave masters. You know, we talk about our colonizers. We had the plantocracy. We had a set of people we used to call the bourgeois. But now we have the partycracy. It's the partycracy that's running the country now. So everybody wanted to toe a party line and walk a party line. I'm sorry. I ain't walking none.
Yeah.
I ain't walking none.
All right, Beverly. I did promise you, I know you have a meeting at 10 o'clock, and I did promise you that I was not going to keep you here past 9:45. Would you please forgive me because it's now 9:49. I've intruded on your time 4 minutes. So let me say thank you, my friend. And of course, your plug for Thursday night?
Thursday night, make we chat, and we hope to have a blast.
The usual suspects.
The usual suspects. And possibly some guest suspects.
Oh, wouldn't that be great?
Yes.
Wouldn't that be great? 8 o'clock, folks, on Thursday night. Thanks a lot, Beverly. Always good to see you, my dear friend. And safe journey to wherever it is you're headed right now. Just before I go to the break here, I see a note here from Jerry. Jerry says, "Good day, Bev. Great insights." You know a guy named Jerry Hopkin?
Yes.
Ah, okay. He says, "Great insights. Hey George, I will certainly be stopping by the next time I'm down. I was giving him hell a little while ago for coming down here and not popping in to say hello, you know. So he's now saying that my last trip was preoccupied with activities surrounding the loss of my mom. Well, Jerry, I'm terribly sorry. I didn't know your mom passed away. I'm terribly sorry to hear that. And please accept my condolences, and I'm sure that Bev joins me in extending hers as well. Okay?
Absolutely.
Okay. Take care. All right. What we're going to do is take a little break, and then we'll come on back and...
Grenada Market has now introduced the Prime products to online shoppers in the UK via amazon.co.uk. Zebrapick, Nutmeg, Bobanday and Mobiback are now available, with more products being added gradually. These products are shipped across the UK and Europe free of charge for Amazon Prime members and backed by Amazon's reputable customer service. Avoid international shipping. Buy in your local area. Amazon.com in the USA, Amazon.ca in Canada, and Amazon.co.uk in UK and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
Grenadian General Insurance Company, strength and stability. Grenadian General Insurance Company, tell your friends, tell your family. We cover householders comprehensive, motor and even fire too. Contractors all risk burglary, public liability, professional indemnity, directors liability, and wait, we still have more. Come and find out more what you're waiting for.
We are located on Scott Street, St. George's. For more information, call 440-2434.
Tell everybody.
GRENADA Community Partnership Initiative.
We're here in sincere appreciation to GRENADA as a utility corporation for the donation of that rooftop solar generating plant. It would reduce our monthly bill. On behalf of the Hillsview Home residents and the wider community here at Gove, to just thank GRENADA most sincerely for that thoughtful donation.
GRENADA, energizing our community.
Alrighty, folks, this is it. This is it. This is it. Time to pull the curtain down. But I'm not going to leave unless I do something which I try to do at the end of every program, whether it's Sundays with George Grant or Gudday, GRENADA. I like to inspire people. And this morning I'm just going to give you another example about the God we serve. In other words, just teach you a little bit about him. He wounds, but he also binds up. He injures, but his hands also heal. From 6 calamities, he will rescue you. And 7, no harm will touch you. In famine, he will deliver you from death, and in battle, from the stroke of the sword. You will be protected from the lash of the tongue, and need not fear when destruction comes. That's an excerpt from the 5th chapter of Job. Okay? And for those of you who have ever read the book of Job, you know that that guy went through a heck of a lot. Came out better for it at the end. Sometimes it's hard to believe that anything good could come out of evil. Yeah. Take a look into my eyes. You'll see living proof of that. Pilgrims, and let's fire up this little thingy here. That's where we're going to pull the curtain down on today's Good Day Grenada. Thank you for joining us, those of you around the world and also right here in Grenada. By God's grace, we shall see thee again tomorrow morning at 9.